front.
Welcome back to Meet the Authors. Today's first guest is Patty Parris, who really has done quite a couple of things over this past few months, last few years that are remarkable. We're here to talk about her new books, and let's get started. So Patty, you told me you've been a writer since high school, all your life.
I have.
Tell me about that.
I started writing in high school when I did creative writing, and then I won a contest in high school, and that of course spurred me to want to be a writer. But in college I didn't do any writing. I moved into psychology, which was my major, and European history, and that really was the formation of my love of biographies and learning about people. And so right now what I love to do is write about people and hear people's stories. And I interview the elderly through church projects, 89 and 90-year-olds. And
you interview 89 and 90-year-old
yes.
people.
Yes.
And then you put together memoirs for them?
Yes.
And you have one here. Show us this book.
I do. This is Joe Teague, and
Show the camera.
he's 92, and he came to my writing class and asked someone to write his memoir. And I told him I would. I told him I had not been published yet, and he said that was fine with him. And we sat down for, 92 hours total of work. You know, we visited for 8 weeks.
Well, that is wonderful. It's a
Yes.
great way to create a memoir for these people and for the history itself.
Yes.
And Joe Teague is a particularly interesting character from what you were telling me. I haven't had a chance to read the book myself, but I'm going to pick this up.
Right.
But he is a founder of Teague Storage, a moving company, Teague Rug Cleaning, so he's a self-made man.
Correct.
But what was really interesting about him is the work he did in charity groups. Tell me about that.
That's correct. He was the founder of Sertoma in Mobile, Alabama, and that is
founder of what?
Sertoma. It's
Sertoma.
S-E-R-T-O-M-A. Sertoma.
And what is Sertoma?
It's an international civic organization, and their mission is speech and hearing.
Ah.
And so all of the proceeds, profits that they make, they put into speech and hearing. And they had a van that they drove around to all of the schools. They personally drove it to all of the schools and tested students, and also did it free for the community.
So he wanted to help them raise money.
Correct.
And so he designed some tournaments. Tell me about
Correct.
these tournaments.
He learned how to bring professional bowling and professional golfers to Mobile, Alabama. He got the books to figure out how to have golf tournaments and bowling tournaments, and he got the men to come to Mobile, Alabama for a Sertoma charity event. And big names did. They
Big
were
names. Yeah, I see some big
names.
names here right on the front of the book. I really can't read them without my glasses. But you've got
Arnold Palmer. Yes, Arnold Palmer came 4 times. And Gabe Brewer won one time. He was famous, maybe not as well known. Payne Stewart was in Mobile. He was not a winner, but he was a winner to us. He was great. It was fantastic. They went on for over 20 years.
20 years he designed such a successful event. That is
he
fabulous.
He
He raised a lot of money for that charity organization.
Yes, he did.
And then tell me about the bowling.
He was interested in bringing bowling events. When the golf tournaments ended for a while, he went into bowling events, and he learned to bring professional bowlers to Mobile, and they were at the Florida Bowl. And then there were the finals. They had the finals, which lasted about a week in Mobile, and the last of the finals was held at the Mobile Civic Center. And it was hugely broadcast by ABC Broadcasting, and all the big name bowlers were there, and big event for Mobile, Alabama.
That is marvelous.
It is.
So you wrote this book, and it's available on Amazon, huh?
It is available on Amazon.
I'll hold it up one more time.
Yes.
And we'll put at the end we'll get your email, your website up there for that.
Okay.
So the other thing, I have it up right now. Let's see. No. That's all right. Tell me about this. This is really interesting because this is something I've always wanted to do. In fact, I did something similar recently.
Right.
But I'm gonna put this up. Can people? All right. Yeah, there it is. This is a book about your father, right?
Correct. Correct.
Tell us about that.
I've started before I wrote the Joe Teague book writing about my parents.
Yeah.
And that was just a couple of years ago before I retired. My father was a World War II doctor. And,
A World War II doctor?
Yes, and my mother was a World War II nurse, and they met on a hospital ship as they were going back and forth between Germany and New York.
How romantic.
Oh, it is. And the stories are wonderful.
Oh.
And afterwards, my mother worked at Bellevue Hospital in New York City, so I'm trying to still research more about her before I finish this. This is just 1/3 of the book, and it's the rough draft, but I needed to have it finished by Thanksgiving of last year so my relatives could read it and make sure they approved of the real stories I was telling about our parents.
That is such a marvelous idea. I love it when people do that. So many times these histories die with our families and they're gone, and now it's so easy to put these together. It just takes the effort to talk with people and write them up and get this stuff together. And there are photographs in both these books, aren't there?
Correct, right. I taught a class with a friend of mine, and we taught a class at church to people, or anywhere we did it, for anyone who wanted to learn how to write memoirs. And we wrote a little booklet for them to follow, and we had about 25 participants who wanted to learn how to write memoirs. And so we taught them how to do it, and then since then I've spoken at several groups teaching them how to write memoirs for their own families.
So that would be great. I mean, so if somebody has a writing group or has an organization, they want to bring you in as a guest speaker to talk about how to put together a memoir, they can contact you through your website.
That's
is that
correct.
right?
That's correct.
So we'll put that up again in a few minutes about your website.
Thank you.
There it is now.
Very good.
And what are you working on now? You've done this. So are you retired now?
I am retired. I worked in the public school system as a psychology and European history teacher, and then the last 14 years I was a high school assistant principal. And I retired 2 years ago, and that's when I really started writing heavily and quite often. I'm working on Morphing into Mother, which is the second part of this book. One of the things I love to do actually are humor articles about my husband's and I travel a lot, about our travels. And they're magazine articles. So we have Panic in Prague, when we were lost in Prague and didn't speak the language, of course. We have Tijuana t-shirts when we decided in 2008 to go to Tijuana during the beheadings and find some t-shirts. And then we also have several humorous articles that we've done.
Oh, how wonderful. Where do you get those published?
Reader's Digest has not published me yet, but I put it in there, and Humor
Oh, yeah?
magazine. I've sent off quite a number of them in the last month, so we'll wait and see if anyone picks them up.
How wonderful. It's great to have this, like, once you retire, develop an extra career.
It is
and
fun.
Start publishing. Of course, I'm not retired, but I still do that, and I just love the concept of writing and getting these ideas down.
Right.
And so tell me about this travel. Tell me a little bit more about, you're traveling a lot now that you're retired?
We started before. We've gone to all 50 states, and they were amazingly wonderful. And then we've been to Germany a couple of times because my sister's boyfriend is from Germany, and he is German. And we've been to Ireland, we've been to Czechoslovakia, Mexico a number of times.
Wow.
And so we try to write stories, I write stories about our adventures there. And usually there's an adventure because we jump on public transportation, we jump on trains, we stay with the locals, and we have no earthly idea what we're doing.
What a wonderful way to travel.
And we only
marvelous.
speak English.
So tell me about, you're an educator.
Yes.
And so I guess you have special, because you're an educator, you have more insight and more access into writing.
Probably so, just because of education and being, I was not an English major, but I was an English teacher when I first started teaching. And then I moved into psychology and history.
And you were telling me that the Hillcrest group that meets in Mobile with you has a critique group.
Right.
So I've always emphasized how important it is for people to have critique groups to improve their writing. Tell me a little bit about your critique group.
Right. Hillcrest Writers meets once a week on Thursday mornings, and everyone comes in and reads whatever they want to read, what they're working on. And the range is wide. I mean, they're poets, they're comedians, they're people who are very, very serious and dark. And we all read for about 10 minutes, and then we have 5 minutes of critique from everybody. How we think they should improve, what they should do differently, and it's wonderful.
That's great. It was so good to have you on your show, Patty.
Thank you so much
and,
for having me.
One more thing, you just show that one more time. You can get her book on Amazon.com or from her website. Go to my website, drstreams.com. You can pick up any of my books or any of our guests' books. All the guests have been invited to put their books on my website and get them directly from there.